Hi, my name is Duncan Kyhl. I'm a parishioner here at Holy Name Cathedral, and I'm especially grateful to the cathedral over the last year for, of course, daily Mass and also all the ministries that they have available, in particular, the Ministry of Care, in which the Eucharist is made available to patients at Northwestern, along with all the Versati young adult activities and the monthly holy hours for adoration, of which I'm particularly fond of and grateful for. I myself have been discerning a vocation to the priesthood and will be entering the seminary this fall. And I'd like to take you back to a moment in my vocation story um, that will hopefully be helpful for you and your experience. And that is the National Eucharistic Congress in July of last year. In particular, on the fourth day, my day began with Mass with two priests who I had just met that week. But we were in a hotel room, a very small, intimate setting of celebrating the Mass. And I was really struck by how powerful it is to be so close to the altar during such a special, um, a special sacrament and celebration. And, you know, I realized that what happens at the Mass is something that's personal. And it's not done just by priests or just generally in a church, um, that it's something that Christ does for each and every one of us. Whether you're sitting in the first pew or the last, that it's personal and Christ is doing it for you. And what a way to start my day. But then I went off to the first talk of the day in the morning. I wasn't super captivated by the speaker, I'll be honest, and started to daze off a little bit. And I felt like I saw this arrow just arc up from the stage and hit me right in the forehead. And as it did, I heard myself say the words, "I would be happy as a priest." And I really felt that word happy. But I was shocked because I hadn't thought about the priesthood in quite a while. And I didn't have much time to think either because the speaker invited us to pray with the people next to us. And so I prayed with a young man who was sitting to my left and an older gentleman sitting behind us who put his hands on our shoulders. As we prayed silently, um, the music started and the crowd stood up and we finished our prayer. The older gentleman said, "Good luck with your vocations." And as we stood up, I heard the song, "I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I have heard you calling in the night." And I was moved. I felt like these things were absolutely connected. And I said in response, "I will go, Lord, if you lead me. That's the only way it'll work." So, leaving the morning talk, I went to lunch with my aunt, uncle, and cousin, and giving them a very high level overview of my day. My cousin interrupted and said, "Duncan, is God calling you to be a priest?" And I just stared at her. I was like, "Why did you say that?" I even texted her later. I was like, "That was so random. Like, what made you say that?" And she said, "I don't know, but it's better to consider it than not." And so at this point, I'm pretty shaken up. I just want to go hide in the adoration chapel and figure things out. But I decided to go to the afternoon talk, and I'm glad that I did because the lady that I sat next to, we started talking, and she said she wished she'd been a better mother, and that her daughter wasn't involved in her faith anymore. So I gave her a couple words, and she started to cry. She said, "Have you ever thought about becoming a priest? Because I could really feel my heart opening up to you while you were talking." And I said, I mean, as of today, really. Um, and I'm so glad that she said something, um, her and my cousin, because it really helped um, make real this feeling that I had in my heart. And I came back from the conference really just kind of fired up about three things that I felt like God was calling all of us to. Three simple things. He said, "Come back to me. Come back to me in the Eucharist. Come back to me in Mass, and come back to me in Eucharist, in adoration." Um, and so I started trying to make those things a part of my daily life, and that feeling of desire for the priesthood grew, and my understanding that I really would be happy as a priest started to grow. And so, to all of you who are maybe out there praying for vocations, I encourage you to pray for vocations. It really does make a difference. I can say that personally over my experience over the last year, that I appreciate those prayers. And if you feel like there's someone in your life who maybe has a vocation, like my cousin and like that lady, I encourage you to say something, because there might be something going on internally that that affirmation will help make real. And so if you are discerning yourself, I encourage you to just do those three simple things that I felt like Christ was calling us to. That was to pray, to go to Mass, and to spend time in adoration. Because if you do these things, God does not disappoint. And I think you'll be in a good place. So God bless.